What if I was transported, chat, to the future wearing this? We must defeat the hentai. Just insane. Just absolutely fucking insane shit like this. Yes, this is what we need right now to defend the future, chat. So, hello, I just wanted to thank you for clicking on my video, and I wanted to let you know not only do I create content on my YouTube channel here, Class in a Glass, but I'm also on Twitch where I play single-player games, multiplayer games, I do movie reviews, cartoon reviews, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Also, it would be a big help if you can check out my Patreon, where you can gain access to audio commentaries, reactions, and the ability to submit questions for my podcasts and videocasts. And all that content can be found in the links below. In the meantime, enjoy the video. But now, my friends, we can get into tonight's review for the Tomorrow War, chat. Got a question for you, chat, before we get into the nitty-gritty details of this movie. That question being, how many of you have seen this Chris McKay directed alien invasion film, chat, starring Chris Pratt, Star-Lord himself, chat? Whatever his character name is in Jurassic World. That guy, chat. He's in this new movie, The Tomorrow War. Oh, a double watch surprise. That's what he says. That's right. No, don't destroy her ovaries. Oh, no. They're going to get got. Those ovaries are going to get got, Fern. And when the burger says, no, Casfat, I have not. CMAP negatory. Alex, I have not. I watched a few weeks ago, and I didn't like it, says Jason. Axel, not yet. I wrote one of Nick and Judy swing with Bucky and Bronk. What? The Antelope Neighbors. Oh, I didn't know that was their names. Oh, no. No, but I have seen the ad too many times. A lot of ads for the movie. I also know maybe I like Chris McKay. Wish he got me too, man. I would have loved to have seen Lego Batman 2. Doesn't look like that's gonna happen. And I love that movie. Fucking Lego Batman's great. It was ever I saw it. Given a high rental. Fern, what? Deadpool. I haven't seen it, and it's dumb, and I can't bring myself to watch. Well, how do you know if I haven't seen it? Give it a... No, it is dumb. It's dumb. I'll concede that. Well, what happened? Nah. I'm Xavier Lowe. The ad is annoying. Fern Juicy always destroying those ovaries. Those OSs, the ovaries? I assume that's what you mean? Yeah. So some of you have seen it, some of you have not. Some of you have mixed opinions on some of you liked, some of you didn't. I did see this movie a couple weeks ago, chat. I did a review for it on Double Toasted along with Corey and Martin. And I was definitely on the more positive side from them, I believe. And where it's like, yeah, it's it's an alien invasion movie. It's got some charming actors in it. It's got a really good second I consider like this movie in thirds. You got the first third, you got the second third, third, and then you got the third, right? And I feel like the first third of the movie is probably the best part of the film. And then we get to the second third, it's like, oh, fucking melodrama and Chris Pratt talking to his old daughter, Yvonne Strahovska. And I'm like, I could do without this. And then we get to the ending portion where it's like, let's just shoot some aliens again. I'm like, thank God. But the signs of this movie, it's stupid. It doesn't make any sense. If you even, it's like, yeah, they literally have a line about the time travel in this movie. Says, yeah, don't overthink it, because it's not going to make any sense. It's not going to make sense. Like, how they explain the time travel. I want to actually talk about time travel movies for a second, chat. And then we get nitty-gritty details. Of this film overall. Let's talk about the general specifics of this film. So this was supposed to come out, like, last year, I believe, chat. But it was delayed due to the COVID-19 pandemic, chat. Amazon acquired the distribution rights from Paramount Pictures, I believe, is the studio behind the film. And they put it on their service. And apparently it's done rather well. It has done very, very well, chat. And I think they've already greenlighted a sequel. So that's going to be happening, chat. So it's like, okay, clearly Amazon made a fucking buck on this film. Made a buck or two, chat. So that's kind of the history behind it. I think it's Chris McKay's first live-action film. He's probably best known by a lot of people for directing the Lego Batman movie. He did that, and I think that's pretty much it. Yeah. Apparently, he's also he might be directing the Nightwing movie. He's been attached to that for years. I don't know if that's going to happen. And I guess he's also attached to direct a movie about an adaptation of Johnny Quest, like the old Hanna-Barbera cartoon, which I'm a fan of Johnny Quest. I used to watch that stuff all the time. And they did like a sequel series like in the late 90s, which I really liked. It was kind of cool. But he's attached to that. So this is his first like big live action movie that he's done. And, of course, starring Chris Pratt, made for a $200 million, chat. Very expensive. This is a very, you look at this movie, it's like, yeah, it's cost some fucking money. They got a lot of CGI here, chat. And listen, the movie's premise is ridiculous. You have people from the future coming in the past to recruit really soldiers, but they're really meat, cannon fodder, to fight against this alien menace who is just eating everybody. The hentai has come and it's eating everyone, chat. And these millennials, these very pretty millennials, have come back to the past to recruit schlubby people, and it's like to fight in this fucking war. And it's dumb. There's a lot of science. The science does, it's the kind of thing where the science, if you over-explain the science, then it gets even dumber. I will say, I'm going to tell you what. The science in this movie makes more sense than something in Interstellar. It's like, listen, it's not about the science. It's just about the action. It's just about the camaraderie between the characters. That's why I think, for the most part, the movie works more than it does not, in my opinion. Like the time travel, they don't explain the time travel. It's literally an electricity pylon that is held together. They say in the movie, it's held together by chicken wire and chewing gum, and it can only do one thing. It can only transport people from in this location at this time, and that's all we can do. That's all it's doing. All right. They don't try to explain. They don't over-explain it. Where it's actually the fifth element. The fifth element is love, and that enables time travel. And if you hide behind a bookcase, Matthew McConaughey can contact his daughter in the past. Like, no. I'll tell you what now. Tomorrow War, the science of Tomorrow War makes more sense than something in Interstellar, than the science in Interstellar, chat. I'm sorry, but it's the God honest truth. That's how it has to be, all right? I don't want to be the guy to tell you that, but it's true. Does it make more sense in the arc of the Fast and Furious series? No. like Bill and Ted. It's like Bill and Ted time travel. This is very much time travel. It's like we can literally change things in the past and it'll affect the future and it'll be golden. This isn't DBZ time travel where basically we can go back to the past but it won't affect the future. It'll just create an alternate timeline where everything's good. That's kind of what it's going to be. Actually, who the fuck designed this MacGyver, pretty much? But he died. The hentai got him. But the last thing MacGyver did, thankfully, was put that necessary piece of chewing gum and paperclip and chicken wire in that place, and boom, you create time travel, chat, all right? And that's what we did. But overall, listen. Movie has a lot of issues. I'll get into all of them, Chad. There's a plethora. But I dug the film. I think it's perfect where it is. You watch it. If you have Amazon Prime, watch it for free. You're good, Chad. You're good. But, Chad, let's go ahead and get into the nitty-gritty details of this film. We start in suburbia, Chad. Middle America, suburbia. Actually, it's like upper middle class suburbia, I'll say. That's where we are. I'd say we're up there. And where we're watching Chris Pratt, he's driving home, from work. He works at a high school. He's a science teacher, but he doesn't want to be a fucking science teacher, okay, in a high school. He hates them kids. They don't respect them. They're not interested in science. They want to be Instagram stars and TikTok stars. He's like, I'm done with it. I want to work on super secret military projects and make more money so I can then move my family. From this upper class suburban neighborhood and, get a fucking mansion and build a fence around it so I don't have to interact with everybody. That's what he wants, Chad. And it's also, everyone's at his house. Everyone's going, it's like his fucking house is like Mecca or something. Everyone's going there. He pulls in the drive and he's in the middle of an interview. So he's talking, he's doing all these things at once, Chad, while interviewing for this fucking job. He goes inside the house. Everyone's just stuffing their fat, upper middle class faces with food stuff, chat. And he goes and sees his wife, Betty Giplin. By the way, I will say, criticism of this movie, I didn't get to say when I reviewed it on Double Toasted. Big fan of Betty Giplin, chat. Most recently was in The Hunt, which I think was a very underrated movie from last year. I really like that film. And also, chat, The Glow. The Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling show, which was amazing and got canceled by Netflix. It was supposed to get a fourth season. It did not get a fourth season, chat. Only got 3, but she is also really good in it. I listen, even not stuffing the wife, well, not yet. I mean, did put a baby in her and everything, but not yet. But she's stuffing her face too. But criminally underused in this. Like she's just there to be the wife and mom. That's it. And it's like, God damn it. She could have went back in the past with him. That would have been cool. It would have been a father, mother dynamic, and it would have been cool, but they waste opportunity. Because Betty Giplin, she can do all these action scenes. Have you seen The Hunt? You know she can handle this kind of material. Would have been great. Would have been great. So Chris Pratt is a Disney princess. He dreams of something more. Exactly. He is very much. He's a gender-bent Disney princess, if you will. A prince, but no. Disney princess. I agree. But a criminally underused Betty Giplin, she's just there to feed Chris Pratt. He needs a lot of food shit. He needs a lot of boiled chicken because, he used to be chubby Chris Pratt like in Parks and Rec. But he's like, I got to stop drinking beer and I got to eat boiled chicken every day. So she's just stuffing him filled with boiled chicken chat, stuffing the face of everyone else at the World Cup party, which I'm like, are people really doing our entire upper class suburban neighborhoods literally going to like a single house to watch the World Cup? Is that a thing? Like, I get it like in Europe, in Asia, in South America, Africa, sure. Like, you go over because it's, we love soccer. But is that a thing here in the States? I don't think it is. Anyway, criminally underused Betty Giplin kisses Chris Pratt as he comes in. He says, I'm on the phone. And she's like, oh, okay. And she's just busies herself doing, basically a housewife thing, which is a complete waste of her character. I'm coughing checks. I'm disgusted. But then, as Chris Pratt, he's checking the mail, and he sees an envelope on the counter chat, and he notices the name on it, and it says J.K. Simmons. It says J.K. Simmons. He's like, woo, and he don't like J.K. Simmons. The reason why, chat, he doesn't like J.K. Simmons is because J.K. Simmons is his dad. And he blamed his dad abandoned him and his mom like decades ago, and he's really resentful. But he's been sending, letters and cards to his granddaughter, Chris Pratt, and Betty Giplin's little daughter named Murray. I think her name is Murray. I don't know her name. I think her name is Murray, chat, like Murray. Murray, like an old man. like an old man. I don't know. Why are you naming your daughter Murray? No, one thing with my business. As there are people who enjoy the World Cup stateside, okay, fair enough. I don't mean to talk shit, but I'm just, it's like football, I get it, baseball, hockey, I get it, but like that. Like the top, yeah, like Murray. Exactly. She's going to find out whether the kid is the father's or not. But, he got a little daughter named Murray. And Chris Pratt's like, nope. And he throws the card in the trash because he doesn't want his father to interact with his daughter. And Betty Giplin's like, listen, he keeps sending these letters. Like, maybe we should invite him. And he's like, absolutely fucking not, honey. I love you, but no, but fuck you. Can't do it. And he's like, all right. No, she's like, okay. And so, and the little daughter, she's stuffing her face with, food and stuff. She's like, I love you, Daddy. I love you too, Murray. Also, Betty Giplin is very upset that no one is eating her weird, abomination, tuna fish, smiley face man. It's like a smiley snowman made of tuna fish. And I'm not I wouldn't eat that either. I wouldn't want to eat that. He's like, and Chris Pratt says, listen, I'm going to eat that since no one's eating it. I can see you're sad. I'm going to come inside. I'm going to eat all this tuna fish right here, and I'm going to put a baby in you tonight. And she's like, woo, that sounds good for me. I'm a housewife. And so he goes outside. He's taking out the trash chat because that's what the man of the house does. All right? The woman is in the kitchen, and the man takes out the trash. And he's still doing the interview chat. He's multitasking. And the guys are like, listen, Chris Pratt, this is shitty because it's like everyone's been through this. You have all, we understand that, you've had all this experience and you were in the military, but we need someone who has an additional 5 years of experience. We're looking for someone who has a master's degree, but has been working in the field for 15 years. He's like, I have 10 years of experience doing this. I mean, I was in the military doing this kind of stuff too, working on these super secret projects and stuff. Can't you, I mean, let me come in and talk to you. I can prove. He's like, I'm sorry, but we're going to have to go with this other guy. So they fucking called him, interviewing him, but they already had someone else picked out, which was bullshit. That was too real. They were a shitty company, and he's upset, and he fucking flips out. He starts knocking all the trash cans in the neighborhood, everyone's, not just his trash can shit, everyone's. The neighbor's like, Chris Pratt, why? He's like, I own you. And it's like, I guess it's technically true. Everyone goes to his house like it's the Mecca or something. And so he goes inside. And Betty Gliplin knows he didn't get the job, and he goes and sits his ass on the couch, and he starts eating. He just stuffs his face with the boiled chicken, chat, and the beer. And his little daughter, Murray, comes over, and she's like, I love you, Daddy. And she's like, I love you too, Murray. But you see that she's like reading like science books. Murray's a smart kid, chat. Murray's a pretty smart kid. And she's reading a science book. And she's like, I want to be like you, Daddy. I want to be a scientist. And he's like, well, honey, I'm only a science teacher at a high school. And she's like, that's like being a scientist, right, Daddy? Yeah. No. She's like, I want a cure. And they start talking about, you know, like things that, and she read in this book about how this scientist, you know, found the cure for like polio and like all these other diseases and shit. And you know, and how you have to find like microbes like buried in the ground. And I was able to, and she says like, this guy found like microbes buried in the mud in like dirt and stuff. And he extracted certain things from it and he made an antidote and he saved the world, Daddy, just like you. And he's like, well, that's great, honey. Why don't you shut up and I'll eat this tuna casserole and while we watch the World Cup. And so Betty Gliplin, Chris Pratt, witness me. Thank you so much, Mr. Humdinger, for the raid. Divine Ms. Klein, welcome to stream. Vanessa Killabish, welcome to stream. Chat, please do check out Mr. Humdinger's channel. I would appreciate it. According to SSA's website, Murray is now top 1,000 female named during the year from 1900 to now. Now listen, her name is Murray. What do you want from me? Oh, Yatsuba fan, it's been a hot minute. Welcome back to the stream. How you doing? Return the favor. Thank you. Of course, man. Happy to spread the love. Happy to spread the love everywhere as much as I can. Oh, bad boy, Dad. Please don't let your daddy issues doom you, man. Oh, it might. Nia Brownie, hey, shit up. I'm wearing a college shirt over here. Also, hi. Nia Brownie, thank you for the two, but he's hard hands, Nia Brownie. Absolute pleasure to have you here. Good to have you here, guys. Again, please do check out Mr. Humdinger streams. Please do check out Killabish and Vanessa streams. I would appreciate that. What are you playing? What are you doing, Mr. Humdinger? I'm currently in the middle of my review for The Tomorrow War, where Chris Pratt is currently voring, if you will, a tuna fish snowman of some kind. Whatever the hell it was. It was in some weird fucking shape. It was disturbing looking. It was like a snowman pumpkin boy or something. Oh, that's right, the Duck Dynasty game. I saw you playing that before. That's right. Nice. You playing that the whole time? That's amazing, man. That's amazing. Chad, you want to see someone play the hell out of Duck Dynasty, check out Mr. Humdinger streams. I would appreciate it. Thank you, man. Thank you so much for the raid. Cheers and salute to you. You're shaking the pillars of heaven, good sir. Thank you. But now, my friends, now back to review. And so all three of them and the rest of the fucking neighborhood, they're all watching the World Cup, and the soccer man is kicking the ball, and people, they're like, oh, they all start falling over, chat, because it's soccer, and they all fake injuries all the time. Those faux injuries is bullshit. Mr. Mayor, thank you for the 20 biddies. Cheers indeed. But this guy's going right towards the goal, chat, and he's about to kick it, but then, ba-boom! Big flashing lights and lightning, and all of the mist and fog machines in the area, chat, are used for this scene. And who walks out of the mist and of the lightning, chat? They're like, boop, they pop down, like they drop like about 5 feet, and they do a bunch of superhero landings, chat. And it's all a bunch of very pretty minority millennials, chat. A lot of black, brown people in various hues. And it's like, they're like, we've come from the future, okay? Humanity is being eaten alive by giant white hentai abominations. And we, very attractive millennial minority people, have come back to the past to prepare you for the fight, okay? Our fight. It's not your fight now, but now it is, because you're all gonna be eaten by giant white, like, hentai monsters. And everyone's like, oh, geez. And then it's like a montage. Thank you for the 69 biddies. It's a montage, chat. And it's like a year, and apparently the military, like everyone believed the very pretty millennial people, and they've been sending the world's military has been sending all of their people to the future, but they all get killed. They all get killed, and it's like the casualty rate is ridiculously high. Like when you do come back, 90% fatalities, chat. It's not good. No, any woman think of this, so it's a game of hentai tag. Yes, it is. This movie had cool alien designs. I can say, okay, yes, it does. The white spikes, or as I shall call them, the white hentai beasts, are pretty cool, and they're very intimidating. And they shoot spiky hentai at people. But all the world's military is basically decimated because they keep saying. So what happens is they attach like this device to your arm, like it's like like with spikes and shit, and you got to go to one location. So the government always tracks you where you are, and then they send you to the future, and you basically stay there for like a week. You stay there for a week, and then you're instantly transported back home. That's how it works. And so once you're drafted, that's it. That's what has to happen. So all the military forces in the world have pretty much been, used at this point. And so now they're just recruiting civilians, but they're looking for and this is the part of the movie I thought was really interesting. I wish they leaned into this more. Is they're recruiting like 40-year-old schlubs, like office drones. People that are not have never had military training, just like anybody. If you're in your 40s or 50s, we want you. If you got a pot belly, you bet your ass you're coming with you. Are you on death's door? We want you. It's like that's how it is. And they explain as to why. There's like a interesting theory, and they confirm it later on in the movie. But I just love it. It's like these people who are not trained soldiers, like, I don't know what I'm doing. And they're just sent to fight these horrifying, monstrous creatures in the future, chat. It's pretty good. It's like if I was sent to the future to fight these things, and I would not last long, chat. They would attack me, and they would lay their eggs inside my tummy. I don't want that. Barry of Blue, welcome to stream. Hope you're doing very well. Good to see you. Currently reviewing The Tomorrow War. But chat, it's been a year. The world's militaries have been strained, and now we're recruiting 40-year-old office drones and schlubby people. We then cut to Chris Pratt. He is teaching high school science. None of the kids in the classroom want to hear about it. They're like, we don't give a shit. And it's like, all right, well, what do you guys do want to talk about? They're like, we're going to all die. What's the point of learning all these things? It's like our parents are being sent there, and then they never come back because they said that they were killed in action. What's the fucking point? And Chris Pratt's like, come on, kids. You got to have hope. You got to have hope. Right? Isn't that great? Who wants to talk about something else? Who else wants to talk? And then this one kid in the back of the class is like, me. Call on me, sir. And he's like, anyone other than Martin. Anyone other than Martin. And they're like, and no one else is raising their hand. And they're like, Martin, what do you want to talk about? Volcanoes, obviously. Volcanoes are nature's fury. He goes, I understand that. He's like, aren't you guys really interested in volcanoes? And they're like, they're cool, but you're really into them, unnaturally into them. He's like, I know. It's almost like it's going to be an important plot point in the movie later on. Anyway, we move on from that scene, and Chris Pratt, he has to go check in for the draft. So he got the call in there, and they the future, the very pretty minority millennial people, they check you if you are eligible for being drafted. Okay, and we find out what makes you eligible here, Chad. It's very interesting. Chris will unleash his inner Russell Crowe and the monsters, right? What's the reason for the Shelbys? We're gonna find out right here. There is a good reason. It's pretty funny. So they hook him up to this machine. They're like, Chris Pratt, please take your shirt off. And he's like, okay. He takes his shirt off. Chat. Looks good. I mean, he's not Star-Lord level good, but he looks good. I would kill someone to have his physique. Because it looks nice. Oh, that boiled chicken, chat. He just shouldn't have eaten that tuna fish. You put a little extra few pounds in that tum-tum of his. But they put him in this machine. They're like, sir, we need you to stick your arm inside of this very sphincter-sized, chute. And he's like, I don't know what I want to do. You got to do it or we will shoot you. He's like, okay. And he puts his arm through the sphincter and starts analyzing him and everything. And they're like, oh, great. This is perfect. The machine says you die in 7 years, so you are definitely eligible for the draft. And he's like, wait, excuse me? I die in 7 years? What are you talking about? And so, and then they attach, damn, I heard there's a dog, I think, dying outside, chat. It was like, rah, 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 rah. It's past. The dog is now, no, I don't know. The dog was just barking like crazy. Anyway, He then finds out he's going to die in 7 years. He's like, wait a minute, what do you mean I'm going to die in 7 years? Well, according to our fucking readings here, according to our statistics, our information from the future, Chris Pratt, you're going to die, okay? And so they then attach the device to his arm, which is basically all of your forearm. He says, oh! And he comes out, he's like, oh, geez. He's like, welcome to the war, sir. Upon your death, your family will get $1 million. He's like, well, that's cool, but I don't really want to die. And so now we know. The reason why they're recruiting schlubby people is because, or just anyone at this point, is because no one that the people that they send in the future, they can't be alive in the future. So it's like time cop rules, shit. It's time cop rules. So if you're interacting with your other self, then you become like a blob monster and then you explode. And so you cannot it'd be a paradox. And so you have to be dead in order for you to be in the future, right? And that's why all the minority people, all the millennial minority, minority millennials, that's why they're sent back to the past, because they haven't been born yet, chat. Makes sense? Huh? There you go. Can't fill space-time. Yeah, can't fill the same time-space. Exactly, technician. You got a silly time travel plot, but hey, par for the course. Exactly, that's how it is. It's like, all right, got it, we got it. And so we then cut Betty Giplin. She's a psychiatrist, and she's doing these kind of like sessions, these group sessions with people suffering from PTSD who are in the war. And these people were all fucked up. Like, they're all missing limbs and shit. Multiple, like, you know, just paraplegics. And it's not looking good, shit. It's not looking good. And these guys are like, the only thing I can remember is the chittering. All he remembers is the chittering, chat. And eventually Chris Pratt walks in. He shows his arm. She's like, excuse me, I need to talk to my husband. And she goes out there. And she's like, you know what, fuck it. We should just run. Fuck the government. Fuck them. We got to get out of here. And he's like, we can't run from the government. I used to work for the government. They know who I am. And she's like, well, you got it. Well, we know who did run from the government, who's living off the grid right now. Go talk to your dad. And he's like, I don't want to talk to my dad, J.K. Simmons. It's like, you got to go do that. He's like, fine. And so then, Chad, he goes to this plane hangar. This like a small airport, chat, which is owned by this rich guy, and apparently that's where his father lives. Thank you so much to Alexandria the Greatest. Alexandria the Greatest. Thank you so much for the follow. You're my new Huckleberry. Welcome to the stream. You have conquered many lands, and you have come here before me. I hope you're doing well today. But chat. Where are we? Oh yes, I gotta get back on track. I have my notes. But at this point, he goes and sees his dad, who's working off the grid at this very rich guy's, plane hangar. He's got all sorts of like planes from various decades and things. If my dad only wanted to talk about Spider-Man, I wouldn't want to talk to him either. Have you been? Of course, he's confronted by his dad. He's confronted by his dad. His dad's pointing a gun at him. He's like, I didn't recognize you when you came in to the facility. And Chris Pratt's like, well, you haven't seen me in a couple years or a few decades. He's like, have you brought the goods? I have the pictures of Spider-Man, Daddy's like, yes. Oh, yes. And he's all, besides himself because he's finally got those pictures of Spider-Man, Chad. He's a fucking menace. But Chris Pratt's like, listen, I need your help. I need you to get this thing off my arm. And Dad's like, oh, don't worry. I know all about future sci-fi technology from the year 2051. I'll be able to get that off your arm. And he goes to like a cooler. And by the way, J.K. Simmons is fucking built in this movie. He is so muscular. He's like 65. I think J.K. Simmons is in his 60s. And he looks so good. It's like, oh my God, I would kill to have his body, chat. His old man, his 65-year-old old man body, chat. I need it. He looks so healthy. He's got like a tank top on. He's showing off those fucking guns. It's like, Jesus Christ. He's probably in better shape than Chris Pratt is in the movie, chat. But he goes to this cooler, which is filled with like the armband stuff. And he's like, oh yeah, I've been able to take these off of people before. And the government will just lose track of you. So he goes over there and him and Chris Pratt start having a conversation. The thing is, chat, him and Chris Pratt did not part on good terms. And Chris Pratt starts like making fun of him about how you work off the grid. You're working for this random rich guy. And then J.K. Simmons just freaks the fuck out. And he's like, J.K. Simmons is like drinking whiskey the whole time. He's pouring himself and he throws it in Chris Pratt's shirt. And Chris Pratt's like, what the fuck? And he's like, and he starts touching Chris Pratt's nipples. Because who wouldn't want to do that? Luke, the boss of the bitty. wants to go as Omni-Man for Halloween. Yes. Think, Chris. But he's like, do you think I'm wearing a wire? Is that what you think? It's like, I don't know. I mean, you were talking about my lifestyle, talking about what I do for a living, okay? I didn't know what the hell it was. He also was talking about, this is funny. Beforehand, before Chris Pratt comes in there, he's like, what do you really want, Dave? He's like, you know what I really want? I want Stevie Nicks completely in her birthday suit with a jar of pickles and slathered in olive oil or baby oil. And he's like, ew, why would you want this? He's like, I'm lonely. I need to jerk off a lot. And so at this point, he's like, Dad, why are you acting this way? It's like, well, it's like, you never asked me anything before, so it's a little weird. And Chris Pratt freaks the fuck out. He's like, what are you talking about? Mom and I always ask for stuff, but then you fucking left us all those years ago, okay? You can send in Stevie Nicks now if that will please you, Dad. I thought the pictures of Spider-Man would do it. But he's like, listen, when I got back from Nam, he's got the Nam sickness. He's got that PTSD. I was angry. I was drinking. I was not good for you or your mother. I needed to get away. I couldn't have been a good father and good husband. All right? I needed to leave. And he's like, well, fuck you, Dad. I hate you. And you can't be a grandfather to Murray either, okay? She never going to know about you. And then he leaves, Chad. Then he leaves. He goes home. And basically he says he rather die. He'd rather fucking die than even get the assistance of his father, chat. But he goes home, and Betty Giplin's packing all the bags, so they're going to go off the fucking grid, chat. But he says, it's not going to happen. I'm going to go to the future and fight the giant space hentai. And she's like, God damn it. Well, you got to tell your daughter about this. You got to tell. By the way, the daughter, that was a weird scene earlier. It looked like she was having a panic attack or a nightmare. I mean, it would be scary because, you hear in the news every day that we're all going to fucking die in 30 years. So you would be bothered by that. You would be bothered by that. Not quite my tempo, son. Not quite my tempo. It's cool because his dad was probably fronting big time. Oh, definitely. But then he goes talks to his daughter. Her daughter's in the backyard digging holes and some shit. I don't know, the body the people she's murdered, I don't know. No, Chad, she's looking for viruses. She's looking for microbes so she can synthesize the next cure for whatever big disease there is. It's like, very science-minded kid. And she's just digging holes. And he says, listen, Murray, I gotta go on a trip for like a week, but I'll be back soon, okay? She's like, will you, Daddy? You didn't get drafted, did you? He goes, no. Just a little trip. I'll be back very soon. He's like, you want to help me dig holes before you leave? He's like, sure. And because she's struggling to like dig holes and stuff, he's like, here, you got to put your foot on the blade like that, and boom, and they sever their neighbor's cable. And the neighbor's like, what the fuck? They're like, sorry. Oh, Jesus Christ. Listen, I will give you $20 if you tell your mother that it was you that cut that thing. And she's like, okay. And she pockets the money, Chad. Fuck, that kid's smart. That kid's smart, Chad. She's going increasing her savings every single year, making those kind of deals with her dad. And then eventually, Chris Pratt, he goes to recruitment, chat, and he notices everyone is schlubby. We get like office drones, we get bus drivers, we get cooks, we get, people that work, it's everybody, Chad. It's a mixed match of people. You get a couple badasses. You see like introduced to a couple new characters who get little character development, but we're introduced to a character named Dorian, chat, and he has like the talons of the white spikes and a necklace on his neck. It's like, these help me remember. These make me feel alive. He's like, okay, dude, okay. We're introduced to a couple other people. They on for recruitment, and all the very pretty minority millennials are giving them the lowdown. They're like, listen, we don't have a lot of resources at this point. You're all going to be transported in cargo shorts, whatever you got on you. It's like, you got cargo shorts on, you have a nice polo shirt. That's going to be your body armor. It's like, really? Really? That's all we got? Strangers, you have a good evening. Hope you have a fantastic nap. Hope you sleep well. And it's like, so they're not getting a lot of research. You're going to get a gun. You're going to get some spare ammo, but whatever you got is what you got. Okay. Polo shirt, cargo shorts. Good. You're good to fight these giant hentai monsters from space. And it's like, I don't think that's the thing. Minority Millennials is my favorite show to watch. Hey man, you'll love this movie then. Pretty Minority Millennials. That is emphasize on that. But they all line up, and we're introduced to Dorian, who's this badass, and he has all this badass squad of people. They all got like White Claw or what do they call the the hentai spikes on him. And we introduce the character of Charlie, who just won't shut the fuck up. And he's like, isn't it just kind of fucking weird that everyone is just kind of dressed like they came from work? Like, that guy is wearing a chef's hat. Like, we see a chef, like, rocking an AK-47 or, like, I don't know, like an M16 gun is standing there in full chef regalia, chat, with the hat. And he's just like, this is kind of weird. And Dorian's like, hey, shut the fuck up and listen. He's like, I'm sorry, I get nervous. When I'm nervous, I talk a lot. It's kind of like a defense mechanism. And I'm like, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm like at a 98 right now, maybe even 99. Like, I'm fucking terrified. Is anyone else scared that we're going to be sent to the future to fight giant evil white space hentai? No, I am. And after that scene, chat, we cut. And Chris Pratt and Charlie, they're kind of forming a bond at this point. Charlie says, hey, Chris Pratt, by the way, I work for the fastest growing geothermal company in the country. I'm sure that won't be an important plot point later on. Anyway, they then all go to bed. It's nap time now, chat. They're going to get 3 days of training. 3 days of training. So they're all in their cots. We all need our sleep. Oh, this one. They all need their sleep, chat. And Charlie and Chris Pratt, they're talking. Charlie reveals that, oh, yeah, I had a wife, and she was great. But then she was recruited for the draft, and she never came back. Well, she did come back, but it was in a very small box. They could only find so much meat in the battlefield. And so I had this little wife box filled with wife meat, and I buried it in a grave. It's like, Jesus Christ. Imagine they draft you in the middle of a Sonic. Oh, my God. What if I was transported, Jeff, to the future wearing this? We must defeat the hentai. Just insane. Just absolutely fucking insane shit like this. Yes, this is what we need right now to defend the future, chat. So, Chris Pratt and Charlie, they're talking at this point, and, you know, Charlie reveals all the stuff about his wife box buried in the ground, okay? But then the very pretty minority millennial people are like, bah, we're under attack right now. You have to go and defend this research base. You need to grab this research, like, right now. But everyone's confused, like, we haven't gotten any training at this point. We literally don't know what the fuck is happening. And they're like, too bad, time travel time. And it's like, okay. And so everyone starts getting marched out. Everyone starts getting marched out into this very large, like room. This very large room, chat. It's kind of like a warehouse area. And these guys start flipping like fucking. Oh, they also explain like the time travel thing, because everyone has questions about time travel earlier. They're like, so why don't you just transport us like right when the aliens like burst out of the ground? It's like, can't do it. The time travel machine, which is basically a big glowy antenna, can only transport you at this location at this time. That's just how it has to be, okay? We can't do anything else. And they're like, okay, like, really? Yep, that's the way it is, all right? Just don't fucking question it. Don't overcomplicate it, okay? Don't overthink it. They're like, all right, cool. But they all get marched out there. And eventually, it's like this wave, like the sky opens up above them. They say, listen, we're going to drop you over the facility. It'll be between 10 to 5 feet, so brace yourself, okay? Be sure to brace yourself. You're going to get a little bit of a drop, okay? So just be careful. And they're like, okay, no problem. And so they all get, like, one by each road shout, one row after the other. They all get sucked up into the air. And then eventually, it cuts, and Chris Pratt, he comes to, and he's falling, but it's not 5 to 10 feet yet. It's not even 20 feet. It's like hundreds of feet off the ground. Everyone's going, oh! They're all fucking violent, Chad. It's the middle of Miami. It's a war zone. There's hentai everywhere. There's explosions everywhere, and everyone's falling, Chad. But thankfully, Chris Pratt, he's like, oh, at this point, you can't do anything. You're just fucking falling. But he goes, psh, lands in the pool. By the way, if he was falling at that height, at that speed, and hits the pool, it would still be like hitting concrete, Chad. He would just explode. He would just explode like everyone else would. But other people aren't so lucky. Like, one guy gets like half his body in the pool, but the other half, like his legs hit like the concrete, and they just explode. One guy hits the side of the building, but just pops like a hot water balloon on cement, Chad. People are just falling down. Boom, boom, boom. It's like, Jesus Christ. This is a really cool scene. It's a really cool opening scene of just all these people dying. Like, I imagine in this case, this is what would happen to me. Like, I would be falling, and I'd be in a Sonic suit. Now, I would miss the pool. I would hit the side of it, and I'd just be floating there, like half my body in the Sonic costume, chat. Remember me not how I died, chat, but who I am as a dirty Sonic boy. Okay? So, eventually, these people managed to recover. Like, the people that fell in the pool, they got out of the pool. And we're introduced to like a whole bunch of other characters. We're introduced to good old Fatty McTubbs. I don't know what his real name is, chat. Robert. We're gonna call him Fatty McTubbs. He's a very large man. Introduced to Nora, chat. She's there. She's like a 45-year-old woman. Who is like, works in an office as well. Bus driver, chef, server at a restaurant. And this is Chris Pratt's squad of people. He then gets, everyone's wearing an earpiece. And we see this blonde lady, chat, this commander, chat. Her name is Commander Romero or whatever. Romero Commander, whatever. Like, that's a designation. And she's like, is the squad there? Is everyone okay? And Chris Pratt's like, what the fuck? You dropped us like hundreds of feet over the target. And everyone's like dead. I only got like 10, 15 people here. And she's like, oh, shit, sorry. The time machine, it malfunctioned. And nothing we can do about it. Listen, I need you guys to go to this building down the block. It's like 3 blocks from you. You need to rescue my research team and get all the splooge. We need all the hentai splooge out of there. And they're like, okay. Okay, all right, we'll go. I mean, fine. Also, Dorian is alive. Dorian's there along with his team. Charlie made it. Charlie's okay. So the people are all good. Well, I honestly love how you wrapped up the bit, Chris. Thank you. Thank you. So they jump people only to have them die before the action. Yes, they're not great. The very pretty minority millennials, not great. So they all go like, Chris Pratt, like, he actually has some military training. And so he's like, all right, well, I'll fucking lead you guys. We got to go down here, chat. It's a search and rescue. So let's go, everybody. And these people are like, oh, they don't know how to fire a gun. They don't know even how to take the safety off their guns. Like, they're fucking panicking, chat. They're sweaty. It's not great. But they're going down this war-torn block. And also, we see, like, off in the distance, because they're on top of a building at one point in the beginning, and they see, like, this squad just get decimated by these hentai aliens, chat, by the white spikes. Because what the hentai aliens do, they have these giant little hentai tentacles that fires, like, these calcified splooge missiles. And they fill you up with their splooge, and then they start eating you. And that's what happens. They watch these guys are just eat. That's all these things do. They kill you and then eat you, and then they fuck. And that's pretty much it. Eat, kill, fuck. That's it, chat. That's what these things do. So hopefully they don't do that to you. I mean, you eat, kill. All right, fine. Hope they don't fuck me. That's the last thing I need. But they all going down the street. And Chris Pratt's like, listen, we're going to go in the research building, but we need eyes on the ground. Fatty McTubbs, Nora, watch here. Watch. If you see anything, let us know. And they're like, okay. And I love it, too. Because Chris Pratt, like, asked, like, the woman who we know is Nora. He asks, okay, what's your name? She goes, my name's Nora. And he goes, okay, Nora, I'm going to need you to stay down here and watch and see if anything comes down these roads, okay? And he goes, what's your name? He's like, Nora. I mean, because he's so nervous that he thought he just said her name again. He's like, Fatty McTubbs. And he's like, okay, Fatty. Listen, you're going to stay here with Nora. You're going to defend this position. Let us know if you see anything. If you do, call us and get your asses up here, okay, while we get the research and the research team. And they're like, okay, cool. And so everyone goes inside the building. This is good. I like this. They all go inside the building. And the whole thing's decimated and falling apart and stuff. And they're going around corners. And eventually they go up the stairwell. And they're at the level they need to get the research and the team, but as they enter in, like, there's this big atrium, like, in the middle of the building. They look up, and all of the research team have just been eviscerated. Their bodies are being used as, like, baby incubators. It's like, it's like, ooh, it looks bad. It looks bad. And Chris Pratt calls, Romero Command and says, hey, listen, Commander, your team got by the hentai. And she's like, damn it, we'll secure the hentai splooge. And it's like, we'll secure the hentai splooge. Meanwhile, what's his name? Dorian, he's cutting off more of the white spikes, like hands and stuff, and like their nails and shit. He's like taking prizes and things, little trophies. Because it makes him feel alive. It makes his team feel alive. They eventually continue down to the research wing. He finds the hentai splooge. He collects it. And Commander Romero's like, great, listen, you have like 10 minutes because I'm going to be sending a whole bunch of like futuristic F-16s down there to blow that area up, okay? So get your team out of there right now. Meanwhile, we cut down to the ground, chat, and Fatty McTubbs and Nora, they're spotting some of the monsters. Like, they're in the mist because they're using a bunch of fog machines and mist machines in this movie, chat. Like, it's like, I guess when Chris McKay filmed the movie, he went to Miami and says, all right, listen, Miami, I'm going to need every single mist and or fog machine that you have for this scene. And they're like, okay, shit. And they all gave it to him, chat. And so Nora and Fatty McTubbs tell Chris Pratt that something's coming. He's like, okay, get your asses up here. We're gonna get moving. And so, because they're gonna pick us up via helicopter or some bullshit. And so they come in the building and they all meet up at this point and they start going. And this scene is fucking awesome. Luke, the boss, get 2 minutes. Let's pull up the thing we want you to grab. I'm such a good leader. She's not a like. When we get to that part of the movie, it's not great. Like, I like Yvonne Strahovski, or whatever her name is, as an actress. She's good, but it's not a great role for her here. The first third of the movie I think is really entertaining with the schlubby 40-year-olds fighting against monsters. The next part coming up here is boring as fuck. It's like, this is not great. And then the last third is just dumb fun to me. But I agree with you, Luke the Boss. I agree with you. Thank you for the 2 minutes, by the way. And so Nora and Fatty McTubbs comes in, and we get a really good fucking scene. Really good scene, chat. Oh, Glee, good to see you. Happy to have you here, Glee. I hope you're doing very well. But they start going up this stairwell, chat, and it's fucking quiet. And, like, everyone's like, oh, fucking shit, oh, God. Yeah, Miranda is in this. Indeed. All you need is kill, eat, kill, fuck. Far better titles than tomorrow. Indeed. It really is. Should have went with those eat, kill, fuck. That would have been amazing. An amazing title for this movie. That's what I would have named it. But they're going up the stairwell. It's deadly quiet, and Chris Pratt's like telling Fatty McTubbs, like, okay, you stay here, you look, and you follow us right behind. Okay, make sure that is on our tail. And they're continuing like, are they? Oh, they're going. I think they're going down. That's what it is. Because they went up and now they're going down to street level. That's what they're doing. And so Fatty McTubbs is there. He's looking up and down, and then he looks all the way up, and all the way up, Chad, we hear this. And we see these, like, little heads poke over, and we see, like, this little tentacle that's, like looking every way. And then we cut over, this thing goes, and it's, like, panting, this giant white hentai, like, lizard dog monster. And it's, like, panting, like, I'm gonna eat fucker. I'm gonna eat, kill, and fuck you. It's like, oh, no. And so Fatty McTubbs is like, guys, it's up there, like, fire. And they all start firing at these things, chat. And they're filling these things with so many bullets. But they got really thick fucking skin. They bleed like this pea soup blood color. And they're like bleeding everywhere, but it's not affecting them, chat. And they start firing their hentai splooge spikes at people. And they're like pinning them to the walls. And like, ah! And they jump on them. They eat their faces. They tear their face off and stuff. And they're like, we got to get going. We cut to Charlie, who just figured out how to turn the safety off in his gun. And he's like, shit. Oh, shit. And he gets his way. And he's like, I love this scene. Because it's basically how I am when I play video games. Like when I'm playing Returnal or something, I'm going, shit, oh shit, when you're fighting like a really particular big horde of enemies or a boss. And he's just going down the stairwell just saying shit, over and over and over again as he's firing at this thing, as these monsters are chasing him down here. It's really, really cool. Eventually, they get to the ground level, but they're being chased by these things, and some people are, like, getting spiked by the hentai splooge. Some people are being dragged off into, like, the sewers and stuff to be eaten alive and like, using their bodies as incubators for the hentai babies. It's like, oh, my Jesus Christ. And, like, we got to get to the LZ, okay? And then we see these Humvees come out of this base, and they're going to go pick them up. And so they're going, they're running towards them, and they see the Humvees coming. They're like, yay, we did, everybody. But then the monsters, these things aren't dumb shit. The monsters just ram into the Humvees and start eating, killing, and fucking the soldiers inside the Humvees. So they're like, oh no. And it's like, we got to get the hell out of here. And Romero Commando's like, okay, well, you go here, but please avoid the red smoke areas because we're going to fucking light that shit up. You're going to get got if you're there. And where do they end up, chat? Right in a red smoke area. That's where we're going to be dropping the big old booms. And they're like, shit, we just got to run over this tunnel. We're going to not run through the tunnel. We're going to run over it because it's filled with debris at this point. And it's like they have these like little steps, but there's like these little crevasses in between, chat. So, I mean, you could fall in, but you got to do like a little hop. You got to do a little hop each time, okay? We can do this. But Fatty McTubbs, he can't hop real good, chat. And so he's like, okay, guys, here we go. Ah! And he falls through one of the crevasses, chat, and he just breaks both his legs. They're like bent in all weird directions, chat. He's like, ah! And Nora's like, no, Fatty McTubbs, we were bonding. And Chris Pratt's like, we got to go get Fatty McTubbs. Dorian's like, fuck him. All right, we got to get going, okay, or we're going to die. Chris Pratt's like, no. And so they all jump down there to help Fatty McTubbs, trying to get him up, chat. But all these hentai aliens are coming their way, and they're like, oh, this isn't good. And Fatty McTubbs and Nora like, we'll hold them off. Just go. Just fucking go. We'll hold them off. Okay, take the hentai splooge to the commander or whatever. I don't know what's happening in the movie, really. But just do it. We're going to sacrifice ourselves. And they're like, all right. And so Nora, the 45-year-old office drone, and Fatty McTubbs, Chad, they go, they hold off the hentai aliens right before the F-16, the future F-16s come over, chat, and release the missiles, the firebomb the area, chat. All the hentai aliens get destroyed. Nora and Fatty McTubbs get cooked alive, chads. It's graphic. And eventually we have Chris Pratt and Dorian and Charlie and the rest of Dorian's team going, and they get out of the tunnel, but then they're exploded forward, chat. They're like, boom, and they're like, ah, and then they black out. They black out, and then we cut to the next scene, and Chris Pratt's like, what happened? What happened? He comes to. And Charlie's right there sitting with him. He's like right in a hospital bed and like a gurney. And they got all these IVs in them, but they seem to be okay. And they walk out, and they don't know what the fuck they are. Like, they have no idea. But they ask a soldier, hey, where are we? It's like, oh, we're about 20 miles away from Miami. They're in like Louisiana or something. I think they're in Louisiana, which makes sense because it was cheap to film there. And they're like, cool. They then see Dorian sitting by these boxes, and they look over to him. Hey, Dorian, how you doing? Where's your friends? And he goes, oh, well, I'm sitting on them. And we notice as all the boxes, chat, they contain all the body parts that they found of the people, all the bodies. It's like, oh, shit. And he is like, we shouldn't have gone after Fatty McTubbs. It's your fault that they're dead. And Chris Pratt's like, listen, man, I'm just trying to make sure we all get out of this, okay? This is what this war is about. This war is about surviving, about taking care of our own. And Dorian's like, that might be the reason why you're fighting, but I'm gonna die how I wanna die, okay? I have cancer. And he's like, why? Okay, dude, I'm sorry. He's like, I was only given a year to live, man, okay? So this is how I choose to live. I've re-upped 3 times, okay, man? I've seen some shit, so don't tell me what I should do, okay? I'm gonna do what I do, and I'm gonna die how I wanna die. I'm sure that won't be relevant later on in the movie, chat, okay? I'm sure there won't be a black-rifice or something like that, but we shall see. And so at this point, this commander comes over. It's Romero Commander, whatever her name is. And she goes, Charlie, Dorian, you're going to not be in the second third of the movie. It's going to be Chris Pratt and I. You're going to do something else, and we're not going to see what it is. And they're like, okay. And they go in a truck, and they drive away. And then Chris Pratt talks like, oh, Romero Commander, good to meet you. Didn't expect to be a woman. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. Not at all. Just like, it's good to meet you. And she goes, and then someone passes by and says, Colonel Forrester? Because that's Chris Pratt's name. And he goes, oh, Colonel, oh, so, excuse me, I mean, not salute. He goes, no, don't worry about it. And he's like, Forrester, wow, it's like, one Forrester Colonel, that's crazy. Is that spelled with 1 R, right? She is, it is indeed. She goes, hey, well, where are you from? Where are you from, Colonel? She goes, same place as you. And she's like, Murray? She goes, yep, it's me, Murray. And he's like, oh my God, his daughter, Chet, is the commander. And he's like, I didn't expect you to be so old. He's like, that's not what I was going to say, but that's what you were thinking, Dad. And he's like, whoa, come here, let me get a hug. She's like, no touching. No touching. I have a lot of childhood trauma right now, and I don't want to share it at this moment, okay? We got to do another cool action scene, and then after that cool action scene, we can have the whole sharing of trauma. And he's like, okay. She's like, cool, exposition time. So, Dad, I'm in charge of all of humanity's forces. There's only about 500,000 people left on the planet. I am now the president, the prime minister, emperor, if you will, of all of humanity, okay? I'm also the lead scientist. I invented a toxin. It works on the white spikes, on the hentai white abominations, but it doesn't work on their queen. He's like, there's a queen? Yes, there is. And she's able to counteract it and protect her babies. And so we have found the location of the hive here in Louisiana, wherever the fuck we are. Yes, Luke the Boss, a black-rifice is indeed coming, okay? We had a sacrifice involving white people, Nora and Fatty McTubbs, and now you gotta give it back. That's how it works. So, like no matter what your color is, no matter what your ethnicity is or race is, you're gonna die. So, and he's like, so you know where the queen is? We got where the queen is. We have the hive. Let's go have a helicopter ride. And so they get in a helicopter and they fly on over. And we see these horses, like, oh, these majestic horses galloping. But then the hentai monsters show up and they eat, kill, and or fuck them. And it's like, Jesus. And she's like, that's what they do. They just showed up one day. And they were just eating and killing and fucking everything in sight. And he goes, like, that sucks. She goes, yeah. Apparently they came out of Russia. They were in Russia, of course, Russia, chat. And that's where they are. And it's like, oh, that's a Russia, really? I mean, didn't we send any people to look into Russia? Like, Russia's a big place. Couldn't find where they are. It's impossible. It's like finding a needle in a haystack. And he's like, all right, fair enough. And so eventually the helicopter flies over this hive thing. And it's like very intricate design, though. It's like these two little, like 3 mounds, like in a triangle. And he has all these designs around them. And I'm like, did the white spikes make that? I don't know. Well, they are intelligent, chat. They're just not monsters, not like, animals. I mean, they do have some semblance of intelligence. They just want to eat, fucking, and kill everything. That's what they do. Oh, Sage Snake, welcome to stream. Hope you're doing very well. As a Trekkie, Paramount was my favorite suit between Trek films when they streamed. I see. But and so, oh yeah, Murray says, okay, listen, Dad, I'm gonna go secure the queen down the hive hole. You stay up here, okay? He's like, but are you sure? He's like, stay up here, Dad. You can't be involved. And he's like, all right. And so she goes down in the hole, chat, where her team is getting decimated by the hentai queen. And she's like, and they have all these grappling, like they're firing these grappling hooks into her thick hentai body, but she's like throwing them around and like breaking them in half and like munching on their faces and stuff. And they do wrap her up good, but it's almost on Murray. Like the queen's like right, like super close, like almost munching on her face. Chris Pratt sees what's happening. He goes down there. And he helps wrangle her into a cage. They capture the queen. We got her in the cage. Let's get her out of here because the males, they're going to be very mad we took their baby maker, okay? And they're like, all right, let's lift her up. And so the helicopter lifts up with her in the cage at this point. Chris Pratt and Murray, they get up there, chat. But then there's this tidal wave of white spikes. Of all the hentai monsters starts running after them like, oh shit, we got to get going. They get into a Humvee and it becomes an on-rails section of it. Like, you ever play like a first-person shooter, chat, and you had an on-rails section where your AI partner was driving and you were in the turret? Same fucking scene. Chris Pratt's driving. Good old Colonel, leader of the humanity, Murray, is shooting at the aliens, chat. Also, the white spikes can fly. And they attack the helicopters, Chad. And the helicopters like shred them with their blades. But then they get on top of the helicopters and they start sucking out the brains of the pilots. It's a fucking massacre, Chad. That's just what's happening. It's like, Jesus Christ. Eventually, they do escape. A lot of the soldiers on the scene died. Chris Pratt parks the Humvee to talk with his daughter. But she's like, I want to talk to you, Dad. I want to talk to you right now. My team was destroyed. He's like, I just feel like there's some resentment from you towards me. She goes, yes, there is, okay? Because 7 years before you died, you were a shitty dad. You left us. And he's like, what are you talking about? I would never do that. Yes, you did. You could never find a science job that you liked, and you took it out on me and Mom, and you started drinking, and you started doing all these things, and you weren't there for me, and I hate you so much. He's like, oh, I'm sorry. I haven't done those things. I didn't know. And he feels so hurt because he can't believe because he did what his dad, J.K. Simmons, did, Chad. He's like, oh my God. And he's like, listen, I know I'm that man, but technically I'm not that man. Let me help you with this, okay? Let me be the father that you never had. And she's like, okay. And so then they go to their secret military base out in the ocean, chat, where they have the giant time travel antennae. It's there. It's all blue and electric and stuff. And it's like this giant, it's like the raft from the MCU. And when we start the prison, like in Captain America Civil War, chat, it's like the raft, except much bigger. And there's like an oil refinery in the middle. And that's like where they do all the research and stuff. And so they walk in there. And this is where she says, yeah, this is basically the most humans on the planet live here at this point. The white spikes have not attacked. I mean, when they have attacked, we've been able to repel them. But now with the queen here, we might be, living on borrowed time at this point. And they're like, oh, shit. Okay, all right, well, let's synthesize this cure. And this whole section is just them complaining, bonding over, their mutual trauma and resentment towards their parents. That's what this scene is. It's boring. It just doesn't work. It's like, I know that we need this drama between these two characters. It's just like, it just kills the momentum of the movie. You had all these cool action scenes. You had the 45 schlubby people fighting against the hentai monsters, and now we just get, daddy-daughter time, and it's not cool. But they have the queen all like, they have her sedated on a shit ton of on a horse tranquilizer, Chad. They just constantly put horse tranquilizer into her tummy to keep her sedated. And while they do all these tests to try to figure out what form of the toxin will work on here, they do hundreds and hundreds of tests for like days until finally, Chad, oh, they got it. They got a match. It's like, yeah, we did it. But then as soon as they synthesize the right toxin to fight against the aliens, are like, Colonel, leader of humanity, the white spikes are coming. The white spikes are coming. And we see, chat, just this. They have a battleship. They have like a battleship that was like taken. They have like a cruiser. Like the human fleet is like a bunch of battleships, cruisers, and like fishing boats and stuff. And we see that some of the white spikes have already taken over. But we see this huge mass of white spikes swimming in the water, chat, towards their giant structure and just start coming up the wall, chat. It's like, oh my God. And they're like, they don't have enough people. They don't have nearly enough people to repel them. And she's like, oh, this is bad. Like, we got to get the hell out of here now. And so they're running. Eventually, the white spikes, they overwhelm the makeshift human fleet. The cruise ship is destroyed. The battleships are all taken over at this point. And some of the white spikes, the hentai monsters, they get onto the refinery. They free the queen. And the queen's like, I want to fucking kill Chris Pratt. I'm going to either eat, kill, or fuck Chris Pratt and or Yvonne Strahovski Murray, okay? Let me at him. And so then Chris Pratt and Murray are running, chat. But then, Murray gets hit in the gut with some hardened hentai splooge shit. She's like, oh, my tummy. And Chris Pratt's like, no. And the whole refinery starts blowing up, and they're shooting all these aliens, but she can't go anymore. She can't lift herself up yet. She's filled with too much calcified, hardened hentai splooge. And she's like, Dad, you need to go back to the past. Stop all this from happening. He's like, I won't leave you. You're my daughter, and I love you. She goes, I love you too, Dad. You are a good father. And then right before they're about to have like a nice little hug and like make amends, oh no, the queen shows up. She's like, I'm going to eat, kill, or fuck one of you. And she's like, Yvonne Strahovski, I choose you. And she grabs her, chat, and they're falling off. She's like, they're falling off the refinery. And she gives the cure to Chris Pratt, who has in his hand. And then he's like, no, Murray. And he dives off the refinery and get this like literal like man-touching God shot of Chris Pratt reaching for his daughter while it's just, this is a cool fucking shot. It's really fucking disturbing. The whole ocean is just these hentai monsters going, nom, 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 nom. And the queen's also falling down like, I'm gonna eat, kill, or fuck you. And it's a really cool looking shot. But Chris Pratt's like, no. But then, chat, the time machine, it finally goes offline, and Chris Pratt is sent back to the past, chat, because it gets a timer on you. And he's sent, like, right at that fucking moment. He's sent back to the past. He collapses in the same facility. Charlie's also there. Dorian's there. A couple other people. Some people are missing fucking limbs. One guy has no limbs. He's just like, it's horrifying. And all the very pretty minority millennials come over and are like, Chris Pratt, are you okay? He goes, I have the cure. I have the cure. Well, we got to go back. I have to save my daughter. It's like, there's no way we can go back. The facility was overrun. It's over. We lost. And he's like, no. And he sees Charlie. He's like, Charlie, you made it. And Charlie's like, I hid. Charlie just hid the whole time. That's all he did. I just hid in a fucking broom closet. That's what I would have done too, Charlie. Vanny, welcome to the stream. It's like Sharknado. You tune in to watch a stupid fun action. The daughter has to keep stopping the movie to tell Dad how much he doesn't give. Exactly. It's like, I don't need this. I don't need this. Thankfully, we're done with that, Joe. We're done with that. Chris Pratt, Dorian, Charlie, they all get discharged. He goes home. He gets picked up by Betty Giplin. He goes home, and he's all like, oh, fucking Jesus, fuck. He's got PTSD, really bad PTSD. And he sees his daughter. He sees little Murray. And little Murray's like, Daddy, I made you a poster. I have glitter, and I have purple, and I have blue, and I have all sorts of other colors. He's just like, I just want to touch you. I just want to hold you. And he's like, hi, Daddy. And it's like, oh, my God, because he just saw his daughter die, chat, but then here it is. So it's fucking with his head. And it's later that night. Thank you, Luke, the boss of the biddy. Got to get back to the past. Christopher Pratt. That's just like Samurai Jack. And later that evening, Betty Giplin, she wants to have the sex of Chris Pratt. And she's like, I want sex. But he's not there in the bed. And she goes over and sees that Chris Pratt is in the daughter's room just staring at his daughter like this because he feels so guilty and he has all these feelings. And he's like, Betty Giplin, I saw our daughter die. She made this. This is the toxin to kill the white spikes, okay? I want to stop that future from happening. I don't want to see our daughter die. And she's like, then you do what you need to do. I'm going to go cook in the kitchen as any good wife should. And he's like, all right, see ya. And she's not in the rest of the movie, chat. That's literally all they bought Betty Giplin in to do is to cry, is to make tuna casserole, and to cook and various foods and pack various clothes in suitcases. That's it. And she promptly goes and does that for the rest of the movie. And at this point, Chris Pratt's like, okay, I got to go and talk to my boy Dorian because I want to take out these white spikes. You see Dorian, he's in a bar and he's drinking away, Chad. He's like, well, I'm not be able to go back. I want to kill white spikes. He's like, well, we can, man. I want to go find the white spikes, but like now. Let's prevent that fucking war from happening. All right, you want to do that? You want to be a nice, good old blackifice for me? He goes, hell yeah, I want to be a blackifice. And they do the bro hands, chat, like Carl Weathers and Arnold Schwarzenegger. But he's like, first, we're going to need that claw of yours, and we got to give it to the science guy. And so then they go to Charlie, who works at the geothermal company, and they go, hey, we want you to analyze this to see exactly where if there's any like elements on it, like to get a sense of where this thing came from. Or like, what's on it. And he's like, okay. And so he analyzes it in the the geothermal analysis machine. I don't know what the fuck it is. And he says, there's volcanic ash on this claw. And you're like, what, volcanic ash? He goes, yeah, but, it looks like it could be old. And in Russia, but that could be any volcano. And they're like, well, we need to talk to a volcano expert. Who could that be? And Chris Pratt's like, a high school student I teach named Martin. And so we go to Chris Pratt's high school. They're like, there's like not a volcano expert at this geothermal plant. Not going to contact any of the other volcano experts in the world. No, we're going to go to a 16-year-old kid who Chris Pratt teaches chemistry to because he knows about volcanoes, okay? And they're like, Martin, we need you to help us save the world, okay? We're trying to figure out where this volcano is in Russia, all right? What volcano, like these, do you think could have produced this type of ash on this claw? And he's like, Chris Pratt, I am the best expert on volcanoes in this movie, as you know. Bring me my laptop, Pores. And the Pores bring him the laptop, chat, and he goes beep, bop, boop. And he's like, well, clearly, this particular volcanic ash was from the Millennium Explosion of thousands of years ago. And I'm like, thousand? What are you talking about? Yeah, there's like during like Roman times. So it's like, yeah, like 2,000 plus years ago. And they're like, holy fucking shit. So this thing crawled through that. And so they realized like the aliens didn't land on the planet. They've been here the whole time. They've always been here. And they're like, oh my God. And they burrowed up. It's like, holy shit. Well, we got to go to Russia. Let's contact the United States government and tell them that a 16-year-old kid provides this information, and therefore they should greenlight a billion-dollar operation to infiltrate Russia and to destroy the aliens. And they talked to the senator who's like, no, I'm not going to do that. The whole world looks like they're going to start fighting each other anyway. We have, everyone on high red alert. I can't greenlight this operation, Chris Pratt, despite the evidence this 16-year-old boy has provided. I'm sorry. And then it's like, oh, no. They're like, you know what, but we have one other person. Like, who could potentially get us into Russia who is not with the United States government but has access to top secret military planes? Chris Pratt's like, shit, my dad, J.K. Simmons. And so he goes to his dad, J.K. Simmons. He's like, Dad, listen, I know we've had our rough patches and stuff. I'm sorry about, certain things I've said. Let's just fucking work together to fight aliens, okay? You want to help me, Dad? And he's like, fuck yeah, man. Let's give it to Uncle Sam. And so they all pile in the plane. They fly over to Russia. Also, Chris Pratt has recruited all the pretty millennial people, all the pretty minority millennials are like, listen, we want to be part of the blackifice later on in the movie, and we've also manufactured the toxin, and we have like a shit ton of it now, and we can use it on the aliens. And they're like, let's fucking go, pretty millennial people. And so they all get loaded up in the plane and they all fly to Russia and they avoid, Putin's evil gaze, chat. And I guess they're not, on any trackers or anything. It's like, okay, fair enough. And they land the plane. They all get on snowmobiles and are like, I wonder where the hell it's like supposed to be in this area. And I don't know how we're going to find it. But thankfully, Chad, they pass over this specific patch of, it's snow. It's Russia. Of course, it's all snow. They pass over this particular patch of snow, Chad, and all their technology gets all wonky. And they realize, like, there is a big hunk of fucking metal beneath us. That's where the alien spaceship is obviously at. And they're like, cool, let's go ahead and dig down. So they start digging, Chad. They start digging. And they go through this whole tunnel, and it's melting already. Fucking global warming. And they come out to, chat, and they see this ship buried in the... They straight up copy the fucking thing. It's the thing, chat, because they layer explosives all around this area. They blow them up, and then they go down. That's where they find the ship encased in ice. Who would conveniently solve all our problems? Conveniently, everyone I've ever met. Exactly. Like, we got to end this movie, baby. And so then... Or like Chris Pratt's like, okay, listen, Charlie, Dad, everyone loves you in the movie, so you're going to have to stay outside and defend this position so you don't die. Anyone else who is a minority character, come with me. You're going to have to perform a blackrifice on my behalf. And they're like, aye, sir, Chris Pratt. And so all the pretty millennial characters and Dorian, they go inside of the ship, chat. And it's straight up alien. It's Prometheus. That's what it is. But it's like Prometheus, except better. Like, this is a better movie than Prometheus. I will say that. But it's the same thing, because they go inside the ship, and they're like, how did the fucking White Spikes build something like this? Is weird. But then they're like, but Chris Pratt's like, that's because they didn't. And they walk inside of the cockpit area, chat, where these mummified aliens are going, oh. And it looks nothing like the White Spikes. It looks like the hentai monsters. And like, oh shit, this is a crash landing. They crash landed on Earth. That's what it is. And they could explore, like, maybe they were shipping the White Spikes. Maybe they have them somewhere. And they go inside this one area, the cargo bay area. They open this door, Chef, somehow they force it open, and then these giant gelatinous splooge sacks, all the White Spikes are in there, Chet, like in giant sploogey, amber. And they're like, there, and they see the Queen in the middle. And they're like, cool, so it's like biological warfare, Chet, which is kind of like Alien. I always thought, like, that's what Alien was. Like, the engineers, the space jockeys were just shipping these eggs around the universe, the galaxy, and placing them on plants and using them as biological warfare against whatever their enemy might be, or maybe to cleanse a plant or something like that. That's what I always assume. But here it's like that's what it is. And they're like, okay, cool. So let's take out all the shots. They have all the toxins, and we're gonna go up to all the amber hentai splooge sacks, and we're gonna go right in their chest and fill them with the toxin. And they each one, all right, pick your guy. They all go up to each one, go. And they all stick them in there and go, and they all start melting. But then the Queen's like, what the fuck are you doing? She's trying to, like, burst out of her amber splooge sack, trying to get after Chris Pratt. She's like, I'm gonna eat, kill, or fuck you. And he's like, oh. And eventually she bursts out of the sack, chat, and these other ones start bursting out that they didn't get to. But it's only a couple. It's like her and like two others. And it's like, okay, we can handle these two, but someone has to go after the Queen. The Queen cannot escape. And so they all start fighting them and everything, shooting some of the toxin into them. It's like really fucking them up. Eventually, we have one of the pretty minority millennials discover a huge room filled with the amber splooge sacks. And she's like, there's an entire colony down here, and we don't have enough toxin to take them all out. It's like, it's not good. Eventually, J.K. Simmons, he's calling Chris Pratt, like they got the little fucking thing in their ears. They're communicating to each other. It's like, is everything okay in there, son? But then the monsters, the two of the White Spikes show up. They're going, blah, blah, and shit. And he's like, oh, shit. He starts shooting at them. But he's like asking, Charlie, I need you. Charlie, where are you? Charlie. And Charlie comes out of right before this White Spike hentai monster is about to eat, kill, and or fuck J.K. Simmons. Charlie comes out of this giant fucking buzzsaw and this goes, ah! And he saws it right from its head down to its asshole, chat. Clean fucking through. Good for Charlie. Meanwhile, we cut inside the ship. And Chris Pratt, he's chasing after the queen, but she got out. She's got out. And he's like, I got to chase after her. And he bursts out of there, and she sees her, like, running up the tunnel that they came from. But J.K. Simmons and Charlie are not there. He has no idea where the hell they are. He's like, Dad, Charlie, where are you? Meanwhile, we cut to the pretty millennials and Dorian. And they're fighting off the monsters, but Dorian's like, oh, I'm gonna die how I want to die, and I must perform a sacrifice for Chris Pratt. Other pretty minority millennial people, do you want to die with me? Yeah! Boom! They activate a bomb that kills that kills all of the hentai abominations on the ship. They all explode. Kicks them out. Kills all the pretty minorities in Dorian. Eventually, they all run out. Chris Pratt, he runs out, and he's looking for his dad. He's like, Dad, where are you, Dad? And he starts fighting the queen, because she's just fucking galloping away, trying to go after this person that she sees, like, close by, thinking that's Chris Pratt's dad. And she's chasing after him, like, but it was a fake. It was a scarecrow. And he just starts laying into the queen, Cheb, and then she disappears in the mist. And Chris Pratt and J.K. Simmons, they meet up, and they go to, like, a precipice, like a cliffside, and they go back to back, like, waiting for this thing to pop out, chat. And she does. She pops out. She goes, whoa! And Chris Pratt just starts stabbing her with the toxin and shit, like, stabs her in her arm. And she's like, ah! It's like, starts infecting her, but she's like, fuck that. And she bites off her own arm. She rips off her own arm because she ain't going down like that. She's like, I'll be armless. I'm going to eat, kill, and or fuck you and your dad, Chris Pratt. And it's like, here we go. Chris Pratt's like, I'll fucking square off with you. He's got a knife. He's got the toxin. Like, let's do it. But then Chris Pratt's dad, J.K. Simmons, is like, no. I, too, will perform a sacrifice. Or in this case, a sacrifice. And he cuts his hand open, and he has the blood, and the queen's like, that's some good senior citizen blood. And she goes after J.K. Simmons. And J.K. Simmons is like, I'm sorry, son, I was a bad dad. You're a good father and a good son, and I love you. I'm sorry I made mistakes. Chris Pratt's like, no, Dad! And then Chris Pratt goes, rah! And we get one of the worst CGI shots in the movie, where CGI Chris Pratt jumps on the CGI hentai monster. And he, like, jams it inside of her big, spiky hentai mouth. She's like, and then her skull melts in on itself, and it's, like, all bubbly and sploogey. And then he kicks her off the cliff. And he is like, we are Chris Pratt and J.K. Simmons. And she falls off the cliff, chat, where then she hits a rock and just explodes like a hot water balloon, chat, on a big, big iceberg. And the white spike hentai threat is no more. Miss Shelby, thank you so much for resubscribing. The hentai was defeated. And so Chris Pratt, he keels over because he's so tired because he fought hentai. J.K. Simmons, he keels over because he's old and stuff, but he's still really built. And then Charlie comes over, and he's covered in hentai guts. He goes, whew, we did it. We did it, everybody. We did it. And then we cut, and we're back at the very wealthy suburban community that Chris Pratt lives at. Shit, upper middle class suburbia, not regular suburbia, upper middle class suburbia. And he's walking there. He's got like a broken arm and shit, but he's doing okay. And we see Betty Giplin. She's like, oh my God, I made you more tuna casserole. He's like, I love that. And we see his daughter's like, hello, Daddy. Did you kill the monsters? And he goes, we did, honey, we did. And I want you to meet someone that I think you're going to really love. Grandpa J.K. Simmons. And he's like, how you doing, honey? And she's like, yay, Grandpa. And she runs up to him, and she hugs J.K. Simmons, and they all go inside to enjoy some tuna casserole prepared by Betty Giplin, chat, because that's all she does in this movie is cook. And that, my friends, is The Tomorrow War by Chris McKay, starring Chris Pratt and many pretty minority millennials who sacrificed themselves, Chet. A blackrifice, if you will. Overall, coming down was like, not quite my tempo, son. I will say this. Sir, maybe, hi, Sir, baby. Hope you're doing well. Listen, the movie has a lot of goofy moments. It takes some shortcuts, but the first third and the last third, to me, are pretty goddamn fun. I like the rapport between Chris Pratt and especially Dorian and J.K. I wish J.K. Simmons was in it more. He always elevates any film that he's in. It's good. The CGI is excellent. Really, I mean, except for that last shot where Chris Pratt jumps on the hentai queen. Other than that, really good CGI, well choreographed action sequences. It's a fun movie, but it has a lot of problems. That second third is bad. With Yvonne Strahovski, when it's all the drama, it's like, I could go without any of this, thank you very much. That's kind of brings it down for me, like from a matinee to like a low matinee. I would give this movie, chat, a low matinee on the double toasted DT scale. Clap, clap, great review. Sounds like a fun movie. It very much is. No one reloads ever, though. No one reloads. No one's like, hold on. Nope. You have infinite ammo. It's like a video game, infinite ammo glitch. Oh, Sage Dick, a new Dune trailer tomorrow? Movie's coming out soon, this October, right? Oh, Lord, chat. Bro, juice, bro. Good to see Ace Rock. Thinking for them are the Gen Armageddon. Oh, that's great. Oh, that is great, Luke the Boss. Gen Armageddon. That's wonderful. Sacrifice, that is when you are a minority character, and, you know, the typical trope is they sacrifice themselves in the movie, and they kill all of them. All of them. Like, Dorian got, all the pretty millennials who are also minorities all blew themselves up. A blackrifice, if you will. I coined the term. Operation Black Shield. Indeed. But I hope you enjoyed the review, chat. Sci-Fi Action needs to get over the issues with daddy issues. Yeah, I know. They love that. They love to indulge in all that. Oh, Lord. Is Yvonne Strahovski also massive? Yeah, she plays, she's the voice of Miranda and the face model for Miranda. Miranda Lawson. Sacrifice the magical Negroes? Yep. That's what happened in this movie. Disney has mom issues, sci-fi's papa stuff. Oh, always. Always. It's a typical trope. And the movie engages in tropes, indulges in tropes, borrows heavily from other films, but still fun. Hi, Sharon, baby. Hi. But I hope you enjoyed this review, chat. It was fun for me. It was fun for me. But now, my friends, we're going to go ahead and jump into some single-player shenanigans. I'm going to be playing some Mass Effect 3. I have to move a few wires around here, chat. So if you will give me a moment, spare me a moment, chat, to do that. In the meantime, look upon something that will warm your hearts. A dirty Sonic boy, chat. A dirty Sonic boy.